This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
Okay guys, let's get started. So in the last session, we discussed about sites, right? We discussed about the historical details of SCCM. So the name of this product was SMS, then SCCM, then MECM, and it was released in 1994, and latest and greatest version of SCCM is MECM 2010. Okay, that we have already discussed about it. This is the historical details. Now we used to have exam 70-703, but that is expired. So we have already talked about the opportunities in SCCM. SCCM holds 43% of market share. People are earning somewhere around $45 per hour average salary. Now we discussed about sites in SCCM. There are 3 sites: central, primary, and secondary. Now I'll ask uh, questions. So central administration site is needed when? When do we need central administration site? Brugesh? I think you are on mute. When do we need central administration site? Can anyone tell me? Yes, when we have more than one primary site. Suppose if we have primary 1 and primary 2, so minimum 2 primary site is there, then only central is needed. Otherwise, not needed. Okay. Central administration site needs database, right? Primary site needs database. Secondary site needs database. Data replication happens from here. Okay. Central administration site, maximum number of client it supports is 825,000 client computers. Primary site, how much guys? Hmm? What is the
25,000.
25,000? Primary site can support 175,000 devices.
Yeah, sorry.
Secondary site,
50,000.
15,000. Okay.
I have one doubt on that.
Hmm?
All devices assigned to the PC. PC1?
All this. Sorry, I did not understand. What is your question? Can you come again?
All devices connecting with the PC, which are the primary side.
Yeah, all the devices will be assigned to primary site.
Okay.
But the maximum number of client it can support, in under one primary site hierarchy. Suppose you have hierarchy of primary site, and then you have secondary site, right? So in this hierarchy, the total number of devices it can support up to 175,000. Understood? And if you have like primary 1 and primary 2, and you have CAS, right? Then the total number of devices it supports up to 825,000. Okay. So in the last session, we already discussed about primary, secondary, and central. Now, these are the 3 architecture diagram for small size companies, medium size companies, and big size companies. We have a database replication slide wherein The data replicates from downward to upward. The secondary will replicate to primary, and primary will replicate to central. Now today we will talk about site roles. These are SCCM site roles like components. Okay, we install it, either you install it on the server site, SCCM site server, or you can install it on a separate server. So there are multiple roles. These are what? Start making note of it, guys. These are SCCM. These are SCCM site roles. SCCM site roles, or you can say SCCM components, right? Either you install it on the server, site server, or you can install it on a different server. Okay, I'll tell you what is the difference between site server or a separate server like site system. So we'll talk about these roles one by one. What is management point? What is distribution point? What is software update point? So start making note of it, guys. Let's talk about management point now. Now, management point is what? It is a mandatory role. Make a note of it. The first point is it is a mandatory role. You have to have at least one management point. Management point is a communication bridge between the server and the client computers, right? These are client computers, for example, Windows 7 or Windows 10. On those machines, we will install SCCM client, a small software. SCCM agent or SCCM client will have to be installed in each computer. And the client cannot talk to the server directly. Okay, client cannot talk to the server directly. The client will communicate through management point. So it will talk to management point, and management point will talk to the server. So it is like a communication bridge between the server and the client. That's the first point. Make a note of it. It's a communication bridge. Sorry, it's the second point. It's a mandatory role. It's a communication bridge between the server and the client. Then whatever the policy you have to send to computers, so you start creating policy from here, right? SCC from server, and then you put the policy here to management point. And computers, the client will communicate to management point, will get the policy and come back and apply to the device. The client will go to management point, get the policy and apply to the device. The client will go to the management point and get the policy and apply to the device. Understood? So it's like policy keeper. Management point is what? It is policy keeper. It keeps all policies. Okay. So devices takes policies from management point. Point number 3 or 4 is client will send the inventory data to management point. The client which are installed on the Windows systems or Mac computers, they will send the inventory, whatever the hardware and software configuration of the device. It will scan the machine and send the inventory data to management point. Excuse me, guys. So um, it will send the inventory. Each client will send the inventory, the computer information inventory. So it management point collects inventory. It is inventory collector. Okay, so management point collects inventory from the devices. So you can say device uploads all inventory data to management point. Now what it will do with the inventory? Inventory is what? It's data. So all clients are sending inventory. It has to store somewhere. So management point will dump those inventory into the database. Okay. So management point dumps inventory data in database. Okay, clear? Now where it will install, where will you install this role? You can install this on site server. Site server means what? There are two things, site system and site server. Site server means what? Site server is the PS or CAS or SS. These are site servers, secondary site, primary site, or central administration site. So either you install on the primary itself. So on the, let's say you have primary site, you can install management point on the same server, or you can install on secondary site this management point, or you can install it on a site system, a separate server. You just install management point or distribution. I mean, you can install it on a separate server. Clear, everyone? Or any question? Ankit, clear? Madhu Babu, clear?
Yes.
MP is record keeper. Yes. How long it takes to report back? How long it takes to report back, as in, I did not understand your question, uh, Burgesh. You mean to say how often the client will report to management point? If that is your question, so the client will keep on communicating to the client will keep on communicating to management point every 5 minutes. That's the default time. That you can change that. Sorry, the default time is 60 minutes. You can change that time to every 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So every 60 minutes or every 5 minutes, the client can communicate to the management point. Okay, so that is the management point, guys. It's a mandatory role, very crucial role. If this is down, then so many things will get down. Like it cannot, it will be, the communication bridge will be broken. The policy will not be supplied to the devices. Inventory cannot be collected. uh, it won't store the data in the database. Almost everything will be down. So you have to make sure management point is up and running and it is working properly. So that's the management point, guys. Now the second role is distribution point. Distribution point is like, you know, is like content storage. It is a content storage. That means it will have all the software files, update files, all the installer and files, uh, software files, update files, operating system files, all those files will be present. The computer can download those contents. So basically it will have all the contents, right? And client can download the content from its native distribution point. So we will have more than one distribution point. Every region will have a distribution point. So we will have distribution point, let's say in New York, right? So these are New York machines. So they will get the data from New York. Let's say this is in New York. We will have distribution point in London. Let's say these machines need anything, so they will download it from London. Okay, we will have distribution point in each region. Mumbai, so the computers in Mumbai, they will download content from Mumbai distribution point. Okay, so what, suppose if you have to install Google Chrome in Mumbai computers, right? So so you create policy for Google Chrome and then you dump the file here. Okay, and the file will get downloaded to these machines from Mumbai distribution point. They will not connect to any other distribution point. They will connect to the Mumbai distribution point to download the content. So devices will download content from their native closest distribution point. So if suppose I have to get laptop, I will go to the nearest store, right, to get the laptop. Or I need to withdraw cash, I will go to the nearest ATM, right, where I can withdraw cash. So every region will have a dedicated distribution point. Mumbai, London, wherever the branch office we have, we will have a distribution point. So the client can download from that distribution point. It's a mandatory repository location. Yes, we can call it as a repository location. It can be installed. Where will you install? You can install this either on site server or site system. So you can install this on primary site, right, like this, or you can install this on secondary site like this, or you can install this on a separate server like this, or also you can install this on Windows 10. This is the only role which you can install this on Windows 10. This will server. So either on primary site or secondary site or any other separate server or any other Windows 10 machine. It's a mandatory role, guys. Make a note of it. Mandatory role. These points, make a note of it. Any question? Hmm? All good? Sharif, clear? Ashok?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
So that's the distribution point, guys. It's a content storage. Now let's talk about the third role in SCCM. Now, why can anyone tell me, do we need to update our computers regularly? Is that needed or not needed? Yes. So suppose if you have thousands and 10,000 computers, for example, right? These are Windows 10, Windows Server. Let's say we have 10,000 machines in our company all over the globe, right? These are Windows computers, right? Some are servers, some are Windows 10 machines. So we need to keep them up to date. Up to date means what? Whatever the latest update. Microsoft is releasing updates on second Tuesday. What Microsoft does is Microsoft releases updates on second Tuesday every year. Every month. Okay. On second Tuesday, Microsoft is releasing updates. So whatever the updates Microsoft is releasing, they are releasing it on their separate server, that is Microsoft update server on the internet. This is publicly available, so they are dumping all the updates here. For example, there are thousands and thousands of updates here. Okay, every month they are releasing updates, somewhere around 3,000 or 4,000 updates for its product, for Windows 10, for Windows 7, for Windows Server. So let's say every month they are releasing updates here, 1,000 updates. Now you need to download few updates from here. Let's say out of 1,000, only 40 updates are needed because you have Windows 10 and Windows Server only, right? So those 40 updates can be downloaded and installed on these machines. Okay, how will you gonna do it? Those 40 updates. Can you ask users to go ahead and download yourself? It will not be a practical approach, right? So we cannot ask a user to download the update themselves. Rather, we will create one server, and that server will download the update from, we will create one server called WSUS, and that will download the update, these 40 updates here, and then we can deploy the updates. That will be our responsibility, not users. So we have to make sure all computers are up to date, so that computers are not vulnerable. We have to keep the computers up to date so that the computers are not vulnerable. They don't if the computers are not having the latest update, the computers are prone to be attacked. There are n number of cyber crimes happened in the past and is still happening, so you have to keep the computers up to date. So what we have to do is this role, which is software update point, basically what it does, it integrates WSUS into SCCM. WSUS is our internal server which communicates to Microsoft Update Server, and from Microsoft Update Server it will get updates like this. Okay, and software update point, make a note of it, it is required to integrate WSUS into SCCM. So WSUS information will get integrated into SCCM like this. So whatever the information you have, SCCM will get those information. Okay, so that is the integration thing we have to do. It is required to integrate WSUS into SCCM. Point number 2 is it is required to deploy software updates from SCCM to client machines. So those 10,000 machines what we have, let's say we have those 10,000 or 20,000 or 50,000 machines, we can deploy updates from SCCM. Those updates, whatever the updates we have, we can install those updates on these 10,000 machines. Okay, this is an optional role, guys. Optional means what? It is some people are not using it. They are doing from WSUS itself. They are not using from SCCM, but we will use SCCM, so that's the reason it is optional. And last point is, it is where will you install this role? Either you install this here on the SCCM server, or the primary site. So either you install on the primary, or you install it on secondary, or you install it on a separate server. Okay, clear? We will do this practically, guys. All the roles whatever we are discussing here, we will do practically so that you will get more confidence.
Hey, Kasif, so, but in real life, okay, like companies have a lot of budget issues and all. Do they really have all separate servers, or they try to put everything in one, whatever they can, in the real world?
In the real world, it will always be on separate servers. Not everything will be on separate server, but at least few of the things will be on one server, another few of the things will be on another server. Because if you put everything on one server, and if server crashes, right, then it will be like complete failure. Understood? So we try to put WSUS on a separate server. We try to put a management point and distribution point on a separate server. We put the database on the separate server. Understood? Clear?
Thanks.
That is recommended from Microsoft as well. But if companies are not ready to pay, then it is up to them, right? We can also install everything on the same server. That's also possible. Okay. But in companies, in production environment, I will show you the architecture, which the recommended architecture. Okay, for companies. Okay, so that is software update point, guys, for patch deployment, for updates deployment to our internal computers. Then we have This is not mandatory. Let me skip this one. Then we have SMS provider. SMS provider is what? SMS provider is basically, suppose let's say Shaji speaks Spanish and I speak English. So we both cannot talk to each other because uh, we are talking two different languages. So we need one translator. Okay, let's say Ashok is the translator. So Ashok is like SMS provider. So who is decoding my language and then conveying my information to Shaji and vice versa. Similarly, SCCM talks in WMI language, right? That's a WMI query language. And it will pass on, SCCM will give information to SMS provider. SMS provider will decode that and convert that language or translate that language into SQL and feeds into the database and vice versa. Okay, understood? Clear? So it is WMI provider that assigns read and write access to the configuration manager database. So from here, we can access database, read and write permission we will get on the database through this one, SMS provider. SMS provider will allow you to access database. Second one, it converts WMI query into SQL query and feeds into the database. Understood? Now, it is a mandatory role, guys. You must have this one mandatory role. It must be installed. Where will you install this? You can install this on primary site, on primary site or secondary site or any other Windows server or on the database server. You can also install SMS provider on database. Clear? Is it clear or not, guys?
Yeah.
So SMS provider is basically a translator between SCCM and database. It's a mandatory role. Then we have asset intelligence synchronization point. Asset intelligence synchronization point is to categorize software. Suppose if you don't know the category of the software, there are thousands and thousands of software installed in your computers. Okay, so let's say you got the list of installed software. There are like 50,000 installed software in your company, and you need to know the category of those software. Which software falls under which category? So how will you categorize the software? You can categorize the software through asset intelligence synchronization point. This will help you to categorize all the software, and some software will fall under browser category, some software will fall under player category, some will fall under database, some will fall under developer category, or more, there are more category and subcategories which will be done automatically. You don't have to do it manually. Understood? Clear, guys? The second thing is it will help you to manage software license as well. So suppose you purchase some license and you would like to monitor the license. It will give you a dashboard. Let's say you purchased 1000 license. So there are like 900 license which is use, and free license 100. So it will give you the name of the computers where this 900 license is being utilized, right? So it will give you inventory of the computers. Understood? For license utilization. Plus it can be installed on primary site server or on secondary site server or any other Windows server. So you can install this on primary, secondary, or any other Windows server. It is an optional role, guys. Make a note of it. Optional role. That means it's not mandatory. You may or may not need it. Okay, clear? Then we have endpoint protection point role. Endpoint protection point role is to manage Windows Defender. You know, in every machine you have Windows Defender. Let's say there are 10,000 machines, right? 10,000 computers, Windows 10 and Windows Server. So you have Windows Defender here. In every machine, Windows Defender, antivirus is there, anti-malware. So you can define policy from SCCM server, right? You can define policy, okay? When this anti-malware policy, when this anti-malware will scan the machine, when it should run updates, when it should get updates, from where it should get update, when it should do quick scan, when it should do full scan. All these things you can define through SCCM, okay? Those policies and all for anti-malware and antivirus, whatever the antivirus, I mean, only for Windows Defender. It is not for third party. You can't manage the third party like Symantec or Norton or Trend Micro. Those are not Microsoft product. Only the Microsoft Windows Defender you can manage through this endpoint protection. So it is to install plus manage antivirus on target machines. Okay, where will you install this? You can install this on primary site, secondary site, or any other Windows server, so that it will be able to manage. This role will manage Windows Defender in the machines. It is an optional role because people are not using it, guys. People are using third party, Symantec or Norton or Trend Micro or AVG, or there are a number of third party antivirus. So mostly people are using third party, not this inbuilt one. Then we have reporting services point. Reporting services point is to get the reports from the database. All our reports are present here in the database. So we need to access these reports. So we will integrate these reports into SCCM. So in order to integrate, the reports into SCCM, we need reporting services point. We have to install this. And where can you install this reporting services point? You can only install this on database server. So you can install this reporting services point here on the database server. The moment you install this, then you can integrate the report into SCCM. It is a mandatory role, guys. It must be installed. Then only you will be able to get reports, the inventory report, the deployment report. There are a number of things. So you have to install this. Okay. Clear, everyone?
Yes, yes.
Now, the next point is service connection point. Service connection point is to check updates for SCCM. SCCM needs to get updated on every. Microsoft is releasing updates 3 times a year, right? For example, you install 2002. This was released in February last year. and now you need to upgrade to 2010. So 2010 can be installed through Service Connection Point. Service Connection Point will communicate with Microsoft. Microsoft will tell 2010 is the latest one, you can take it. So 2010 will be there, the latest one. Microsoft will give this file, and so your SCCM can get upgraded from 2002 to 2010, the latest one. So this will keep on checking with Microsoft. As and when the new update comes in, it will give notification to SCCM that new update is available. You can download and install. So it is required to keep SCCM up to date. It connects with Microsoft updates and brings SCCM related updates, not general update, not Windows update, and not any other update. Only SCCM related updates it will get, okay, from Microsoft update server. Plus there are other role. The other functionality of Service Connection Point is to connect the cloud services. So we have Azure cloud services. Okay, there are many Azure cloud services like Cloud Management Gateway, Azure Active Directory. So SCCM can communicate or connect to Azure cloud services through Service Connection Point. Service Connection Point is like a communication bridge to connect not just Intune, integrate Azure cloud services, okay, in SCCM. Where will you install this? You can install this on primary site server. This Service Connection Point, you install it here. For example, this is your primary site. You install this Service Connection Point. Okay, this is an optional role, guys. Optional because people, suppose you don't want to update your SCCM, you want to keep it on the older one, 2002, not, you don't want to go to update to 2010. So you don't need to install this one. Okay, that's an optional role. All clear, everyone? Ankit, Ashok?
Yes, I got it.
Now the last role for today is state migration point. State migration point is what? It is needed during migration. So suppose you have to migrate Windows 7 data, the user data. It will only capture user data. It captures user profile before migration and restore after migration. Suppose, let's say um, James is using this machine for 2 years. So he will have his document, right, in document folder, in favorite folder, in some files will be there on desktop, some files will be there on in multiple locations. So all those files, whatever James has, right, and now Windows 7 is expired, now he is getting Windows 10, he is getting another machine. So this machine is going to be decommissioned and he will get a new machine. So on Windows 10 we need the same kind of information whatever James had on Windows 7. So we will capture and then we will restore. So whatever the files and documents he had on Windows 7, James will be able to get all of them. So state migration point helps you to capture user data and then restore on the other operating system. Understood? Can we migrate user data Windows 10 to another Windows 10? Yes. It is also possible to migrate Windows 10 data. Suppose you want to migrate from Windows 10 to Windows 10, that is also possible. Okay. So user data, only user data, not the computer data, only user data, whatever user data is present, those files can be captured and restored. Okay. Any other question from anyone? It is an optional role, guys. and you can install this on primary, secondary, or any other Windows server. Clear? Madhu Babu, Mayuri, Sharif.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
So these things, when we do practically, then it will be more clear. Okay. So we talked about few roles, guys. So management point, is it mandatory or optional, guys?
Mandatory.
Mandatory. It's a communication bridge between the server and the client. It is a mandatory role. Distribution point, is it mandatory or optional?
Mandatory.
Mandatory. Then we have reporting services point, mandatory or optional?
Mandatory.
Good. Software update point,
Optional.
optional. Good. Then we have a service connection point, optional. Okay. Then we have a state migration point,
Optional.
right? Then we have asset intelligence synchronization point, optional. And then we have endpoint protection point.
Optional.
This is
Optional.
also optional, right? So these are mandatory: management point, distribution point, SMS reporting services point. We have SMS provider, right? Optional, right?
Mandatory.
Mandatory.
Mandatory. Okay, understood?
Yeah.
So management point, distribution point, reporting services, SMS provider, you must install. Okay, other things you decide whether it is needed or not. If you have to do patching, then you do it. If you have to update your SCCM, then you install this. If you have to capture user data from Windows 10 to Windows, from Windows 7 to Windows 10, or from one operating system to another operating system, then you install this. If you have to categorize software, then you install this. If you have to manage Windows Defender, then you install this. These are some feature related components. So if you don't install these features, you won't get. In order to get these features, you will have to install these things. Okay. We'll do practically, we'll install practically, then we will see how to go about it. Now, SCCM, what SCCM can do, these are the features and functionalities of SCCM, like hardware inventory, software inventory, asset intelligence, software meeting. These all things we will do practically. We will deploy application, we'll deploy updates, we'll deploy operating system, we'll manage the content, compliance setting, power management, all these things we'll do step by step and see how it goes. So today I will send you one this thing article. A couple of articles will be there. I want you guys to read about those management point and site system, site server. You will get more understanding. So that is Microsoft article. I want you to go through that. I will send you on WhatsApp group. Okay. So when we meet so today is Friday, right? We will meet on Monday now, right? Monday my Monday will be your Sunday, those who are in US and Canada. Shaji, Burgesh, Sharif, I think you guys are in Canada. I mean US.
Yeah.
So my Monday will be your Sunday evening. Okay.
All right.
So I will send you a couple of websites just to read about those sites, system site server in SCCM, just to get more understanding. And I have uploaded the recording, guys, on Google Drive. You need to access it from there. So there is a folder called SCCM April 02, and I have uploaded 4th May and 5th May this thing, recorded videos, the session. Today I will download this one, the new one, today's session, and I'll upload it here. I have given permission to, I think everyone has permission, no? Okay, no, Ankit has permission, Burgesh, then Madhu Babu has permission, and Sharif has permission. Now I think Ashok, okay, Ashok does not have permission. I'll give Ashok permission. And then who else? Okay, Jamal, Mayuri, Shaji does not have permission. No, Shaji also does not have permission. Okay, I'll give permission to Shaji as well.
So you're going to send us a link for this?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll send you the link. You will also receive, the moment I add you here, you will receive an email as well. Okay. Shaji, I added your account. Okay. So Shaji is done. Now who else remaining? Ashok, can you send me your Gmail account? Here on chat. Mayuri, okay, Mayuri is done. Ashok, I did not receive your email address. Okay, I got it now. Ashok. Okay, anyone left? Jamal is offline. Madhu Babu, Mayuri, Shaji. Yeah, I think everyone is done. I'm gonna click on send. Now the link for this, you will receive email. Okay, every one of you, you will receive email, or I will send this link on the chat window. Let me send this link on the chat window. Share the link, copied, and then I'm gonna send it on the chat window. Everyone just copy this link and keep it with you. Okay, on the chat window I sent the link, and also you will receive email, or you can go to Google Drive and click on shared with me. So whatever the things which are shared with you, you will get it here, and you will get the folder there, this folder, SCCM April folder. If you go to your Google Drive and click on shared with me, that folder will show up there. Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Working. Thank you. Okay.
Hey,
Thank you,
Kaustubh, can
guys.
please?
Yeah. Huh? Sorry.
Can you just send me a receipt if you don't mind, please?
Okay. I'll send you in the weekend. Okay.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay. Fine, guys. So we'll meet on Monday. Okay. That is your Sunday, guys. Those who are in US. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.